Good morning and welcome to the program. This is the Bill Kelly Show on 900 CHML. You're watching on Cable 14. Hey, glad you're with us today. Boy, busy day today. The plight of Rob Ford continues. We'll talk about that. The future of LRT is still very much up in the air. There's the Senate scandal going on in Ottawa. Pretty dull politics here in this country, right? Also, an interesting program that's going on in our town. The Bayfront Builders Challenge is happening on Sunday, and we'll talk with some of the participants in that in the third hour of the show today. But to begin with today, as we have talked about for the last few days, it's a great pleasure to welcome a hockey legend, an icon of sports and in public relations, too, to the program. General Motors of Canada, of course, and Hockey Canada are pleased that Burlington is hosting this weekend Chevrolet Safe and Fun Hockey Festival. You've probably seen the television commercials for this, so you know all about our next guest, of course. Bobby Orr, of course, is a National Hockey League Hall of Famer and one of the greatest players, the greatest player in my mind anyway, to ever lace on skates in the National Hockey League. And he's with us. Good to see you.
Good morning, Bill. Nice being with you.
Hey, great to have you with us here today. Boy, there's so much I want to talk about, and I know our time is limited. But let's get into this program that you're involved with Chevrolet, because I know this is a real labor of love for you, isn't it?
It is. This is our 13th year, by the way, and our message is very simple. We just think that every child, male or female, that wants to take part in our great game should be able to play in a safe and a fun environment. And unfortunately, for some kids, that's not happening. I think back to when I was a kid, and I'm pretty lucky. I've won Stanley Cup teams, played for my country, won some awards. But my fondest memories are my days of minor hockey. And if I was going to give a parent out there any advice, I would give them the advice my dad gave me. My people would come up to my father, "Oh, your son's going to be a pro player." Did it? Yes, fine. My father would come to me and say, "Look, go out there and have fun, and we'll see what happens." That was the advice that I was given. And if the parents would just sit back and there's nothing wrong with hoping your Johnny's the next Sid Crosby. That's great. But the number that make it compared to the number of kids playing, and it's about 0.000017 of all kids playing ever play one game in the NHL. So why are your kids playing?
It better be for fun.
It's for fun. But when the kids are playing and if they're having fun, there's so much we can teach them. I mean, I'm not sure if you have children or not, but I know.
When my son was playing minor hockey here in Hamilton, and of course the same idea, every kid wants to be, at that time, the next Mario Lemieux or Bobby Orr or Ray Bourque or whatever the case might be. And I remember having a talk with the kids on the team at one time, and I said, what are there, about 5,000-6,000 kids playing minor hockey here in Hamilton? And I said, here are the chances that you guys are going to make it. I said, in Hamilton in the last year, I said, Dave Andrechuk and Rick Natras are the only two guys, and Adam Mayer, who have just at that same time, they have made it to the NHL. And I said, there's a lot of really good hockey players here. It just don't even think of that. And my son had the insight to say, no, I just want to have some fun.
You might ask, well, how do we make it safe and fun for the kids? Well, the coaches behind the bench, the officials on the ice, the parents in the stands, those presidents of leagues must work together and make sure it's a great experience for every kid. You should have rules. That coach can't think that he's going to the NHL or he's going to lose his job.
You're not John Tortorella.
Or it's a disgrace if your Pee Wee team loses a game, or you act like your mortgage is at stake if you lose a Pee Wee game. You're teaching the trap. But, getting back, when we started this program, we're doing it for the kids. Yes, we're doing it for the kids, and we're looking at each other after the first year and say, this is more than the kids. I mean, how often do you say to your child, you're responsible for this, you're responsible for that? Those coaches, those parents, those officials, those people that run the leagues, the great responsibility they have. They have a responsibility, and that is to make sure it's a great experience for every kid. And they must work together to make sure it is a great experience for a kid. That's a huge responsibility. You're handing your child over to them. You want to teach them the fundamentals of the game, and then teach them values like being respectful, being responsible, being a good teammate, being a good person, say please and say thank you. Those are the values that they can apply to anything they might do in the future.
Even back when you were starting out as in kids hockey, I mean, you had some pretty good directions. Obviously, your dad, Doug, was a legend, gratefully and insightful about that sort of thing. But you had some great coaches, too. And even a former NHL guy, but he wasn't one of these guys that drove you.
Bucko McDonald.
It was, let's have some fun and let's teach you how to play hockey.
I can remember my three, Bucko, Royce Ten, and Tommy Maxwell. Those are my three minor hockey coaches. And they taught us the fundamentals of the game, but the one thing they made sure is we had fun. Our parents were great. No pressure from my parents. I mean, think about what we do to some of our kids. the pressure we put on them. We embarrass them. We humiliate them. You can pick up the newspaper almost every day. And for those listeners that might not think there's any problem with it, this file that I've got sitting in front of me, these are just stories that I rip out of the newspaper about a coach attacking another coach, a parent fighting with another parent, brawls in the stands. Bad example for our kids.
Yeah.
Come on, let's. These are our children, for God's sakes.
They're all on YouTube now, Bob. I mean, you can once a
but
week
it shouldn't
now.
Be happening. It shouldn't. It just shouldn't be happening. And the big thing now in Canada, some are up in arms about no hitting in Pee Wee hockey now. Well, why? The question is why? For the safety of our kids. The coaches and the parents and the officials on the ice and those runners wouldn't control what was going on the ice. We're supposed to have some control of our kids' games. That's why the rule had to be changed, because they weren't controlling what was going on the ice. In our Safe and Fun program this weekend, in the 8-year-old group, we teach checking. What is a check? A check is angling a player out of the play. You don't have to knock him down. You don't have to hurt him. And then your teammate comes in and picks up the puck. That's checking. Let's talk about what a check is.
And that's still, by the way, with this new rule that they're talking about in Pee Wee, that's the way you're supposed to play the game. They don't say no body contact. They say no body checking.
Correct. And I mean, I'm thinking, what coach taught me how to body check? Were you ever taught the body check?
No.
Never. We were out there.
Well, I was a goalie. Jerry Cheever showed me how.
But if you're 6 or 7 or 8 years old and you got the kids, one was a big fella and the other one's a little fella, same age, so they're playing in the same group. So think about if you're that little guy and you're worried all the time out there about someone coming running you over, hitting you, knocking you down, possibly hurting you. You're not going to try anything. You're not going to enjoy the game. What are you going to do? You're going to walk away. Where are you going to be if you're not at the rink? I think back to when I was a kid, schooling and sports took up all my time. And if I hadn't enjoyed it, or if I'd been getting pressure from my parents or a silly coach, I would have walked away, and God only knows the trouble I might have been in.
The other aspect of this, too, and I know that you've got stories like this in the file that you were just showing us, are kids that quit at 13, 14. A good friend of mine who's a sports writer in town here, Steve Milton, wrote a fabulous piece a couple of years ago about his 13-year-old who was, quote-unquote, retiring from hockey. He said it just wasn't fun anymore.
That's what we do. If a kid isn't having fun, they're going to walk away. If a kid is having fun, they're going to listen. If they're listening, there's so much we can teach them. That's the responsibility of everyone I'll go back. That coach, that referee, the parent in the stand, and those people who run the league. It's our responsibility to do that. That's a huge responsibility. And kids get to the point they're just not having any fun, and they leave not only losing, a kid is losing an opportunity to have fun with his friends or her friends, but how about a fan? We're losing fans because they don't like the game anymore. They don't want to go to the game. They don't want to buy the hats. They don't want to buy the shirts. I mean, there's a lot more to it than just a kid walking away. If the league is looking at it and the leagues are looking at keeping the fun in, it's going to mean it's better for the game.
You have been heavily invested in this for many, many years, but so is Chevrolet, too. I mean, they've spent a lot of time and money into this. The Helmets for Kids program has been an overwhelming success. Over
the last 2 years, we've given 25,000 helmets out to all first-year players, which is pretty. They're Bauer helmets, top of the line.
Yeah.
We'll be doing the program again. So if you're born in 8, you can go to Chevrolet.ca and get the information how to get a helmet this year, a free helmet from Bauer or from Chevrolet.
From Chevrolet,
with a Bauer helmet. Yes.
Yeah. Now talk to us. I want to do a break in about a minute. What you're going to be doing in Burlington? I know one of my buddies, Barry Forth, out in Dundas, is just all jacked because he's going to be on the ice with you. But this is a fabulous program.
We start off like our Chevrolet dealers first of all across Canada have been wonderful. And last night we were at Levitt Chevrolet with
Doug Leggett is one of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet.
He's the best, and he had some of his customers in there with their kids, and we had a blast. So we were there last night. The night before, we met with our coaches that will be on the ice with kids, working with the kids, so they understand what our message is. Talking with you today. Tonight we have a parents meeting where we talk to the parents tonight. And then tomorrow we're on the ice. Each child goes on twice. I'm on the ice in the morning with the kids, and in the afternoon we have classes with the kids. And the two big words we use in our program are what we call the 2 R's, being respectful and being responsible, whether they're at the rink, at school, at home, or at the ballpark. So we have a class in the afternoon. We give them a homework assignment. They give us an example of being respectful or being responsible. We talk about the game and have fun.
Let me do a short timeout. We'll come back in just a couple of seconds. Bobby Orr, our special guest on the Bill Kelly Show, 900 CHML Cable 14.